When something painful happens, many of us ask the same question. Why is this happening to me? Why this challenge? Why this disappointment? Why this loss? Why does the same kind of pain seem to keep appearing in my life? Sometimes we ask these questions openly. Other times we ask them quietly within ourselves. And often, hidden beneath those questions is another belief. The belief that life is somehow working against us. That difficult experiences are a form of punishment. That if we were doing everything correctly, life would be easier, smoother, less painful. But what if that is not always true? What if some experiences are not arriving to punish you? What if they are arriving to show you something? Not because you are broken, not because you have failed, but because there is something within you that still needs your attention. Something that still needs understanding, something that still needs compassion, something that still needs love. Many of us are very good at offering love to others. We notice when others are struggling. We notice when others are hurting. We offer encouragement, patience, understanding, kindness. But when it comes to ourselves, we often become much less gentle. We judge ourselves for our fears. We criticize ourselves for our mistakes. We pressure ourselves to move faster, heal faster, be stronger, do better. And sometimes the very parts of ourselves that need compassion the most are the parts we reject. The fearful parts, the insecure parts, the grieving parts, the lonely parts. The parts that still carry pain from experiences we have not fully made peace with. When these parts surface, our first instinct is often to make them disappear. We distract ourselves, we suppress them, we try to fix them, we try to outgrow them. But healing is not always about getting rid of parts of ourselves. Sometimes healing begins when we stop treating parts of ourselves as enemies. What if the sadness that keeps returning is asking to be acknowledged? What if the fear is asking to be understood? What if the exhaustion is asking for rest? What if the loneliness is asking for deeper connection? What if the recurring pattern is not appearing to frustrate you, but to help you see something more clearly? Life has a way of illuminating what remains unseen, not because it wants to hurt us, but because what remains unseen often remains unhealed. Imagine carrying a small wound that has never been properly treated. Ignoring it does not make it disappear. Pretending it is not there does not help it heal. Sooner or later, it asks for attention. Not because it wants to create suffering, but because healing requires awareness. Emotional wounds can work in a similar way. The things we avoid often continue calling for our attention, not to punish us, but to invite us into deeper understanding. Sometimes life brings us people who reveal our insecurities. Sometimes it brings situations that reveal our fears. Sometimes it exposes patterns we did not realize were still shaping our choices. And while these moments can be uncomfortable, they can also become opportunities. Opportunities to respond differently. Opportunities to care for ourselves differently. Opportunities to offer love where judgment once existed. One of the most transformative questions we can ask ourselves is this: what within me needs love right now? Not perfection, not fixing, not control. Love. Maybe what needs love is the part of you that feels left behind. Maybe it is the part that fears rejection. Maybe it is the part that feels unseen. Maybe it is the part that still carries disappointment from the past. Maybe it is the part that has been trying so hard for so long. We often think healing comes from becoming someone new, but sometimes healing comes from embracing parts of ourselves we have been pushing away. Not every difficult experience contains a lesson. Not every painful moment carries a hidden meaning. But many experiences can reveal something important about our relationship with ourselves, how we speak to ourselves, how we care for ourselves, how willing we are to offer ourselves the same compassion we so freely offer others. The next time life brings something uncomfortable to the surface, perhaps consider a different possibility. Perhaps life is not trying to tell you that you are failing. Perhaps life is not trying to prove that you are broken. Perhaps life is gently illuminating something that still needs your attention, something that still needs understanding, something that still needs healing, something that still needs love. And perhaps that realization changes everything. If you are moving through a difficult season, may you remember that you do not have to face every challenge with self-judgment. May you meet yourself with greater patience. May you become curious about what your experiences are revealing. And may the true source of love and light help you recognize the places within yourself that are still asking to be loved. Not someday. Not after you become perfect, but here, now, exactly as you are. If this reflection resonated with you, you may consider supporting this channel by liking or subscribing. And if there is someone in your life who might need these words today, feel free to share this video with them. Thank you for spending this time here. May you continue finding your way back to yourself with greater compassion, understanding, and love.